Hey, how's it going YouTube? This is your boy Chosen and welcome to today's discussion video. Now before we start, I just gotta say a few things. One, I personally didn't reread this chapter and I'm probably not going to carrying on, just to get as much of the total experience as I can, which honestly I suggest a lot of you do carrying forward. And two, just like episode 185, the episode prior to the Boruto vs. Ao episode, I know a lot of people were really expecting them to get into the crazy shit, but honestly, the moment I was seeing the extra flashbacks of Kawaki that we didn't see before in the manga, it became clear that they wanted to build up this episode for the crazy shit that's probably gonna go down in the next. This parallels exactly what they did with episode 185 and 186. And honestly, the shit we saw this episode was very important for what's to come in the later chapters. So I honestly praise them for slowing this episode down and giving some real backstory for what's to come. I'm not complaining. But anyways, let's begin the review, and Boruto episode 188 starts with that Kawaki flashback I was talking about earlier, as we see Kawaki struggling to move in which is actually the same base that Kara is at now. We even get a POV shot of Kawaki trying to walk, as we can see him starting to fade in and out, clearly extremely exhausted. After a little more walking, Kawaki is greeted by a mysterious person. He goes on to say that he's surprised Kawaki managed to surpass that. What I'm assuming he means is the test Jigen would run on multiple kids to see who was worthy of the mark, as the man says that he was there too, and Kawaki proceeds to then ask what they did to him. So I doubt he just came back from some intense training with Jigen, as he doesn't even understand what's going on. The man said he ended up losing his arm due to what happened, which frightens Kawaki, revealing that he ended up surviving in good condition, as apparently even those who do survive end up losing something, meaning Kawaki is just built different. The man tells Kawaki to follow him, as he'll basically take him under his wing. Kawaki denies any help from this man and wants to instead escape. And as the aura starts to get intense, we see Kashin Koji watching this encounter from above, who is soon joined by Amato, who reveals the name of the mysterious man to be Garo. Garo asks Kawaki if it's because he's got family, which is why he wants to escape. But Kawaki denies this, saying he has no one. Reminds us of a man who once had no family as well. Kawaki tells Garo to piss off, saying he doesn't need allies or anyone. He questions how Kawaki can say that he doesn't need allies when he doesn't even have any to begin with, calling him by his now nickname, Hollow Bastard. And just before Garo begins to strike Kawaki as punishment, we see Kawaki's Karma Seal form up as he shoots out a beam that completely burned Garo's face and wiped out his chin. After the intro, we are put into a scene involving Jigen and Delta, which takes place in the present. Jigen is seen eating at a dinner table across from Delta, as she tells him that she's surprised he even has an appetite. Jigen then proves his confidence as he just casually spits game with Delta, that she shouldn't have to worry about going on a diet since she's already good looking enough to begin with. Like, if I had a girlfriend, I probably wouldn't introduce her to this series so that Mr. Steal Your Girl over here doesn't take her from me, which realistically he could even if I said no. Asshole. Anyways, Delta tells Jigen to cut the jokes, as he knows that nothing any of the car members eat has any taste to it, which is a callback to Deepa and his whole reason for being depressed and wanting the chakra food. She tells Jigen that she's also worried about Koji's mission, as he's taking longer than expected. Jigen tells her that Koji is more than capable of completing the mission, although at times he can be unpredictable. Delta, which I still even after this episode don't know who the hell she thinks she is, just kicks the entire table, breaks it along with trashing Jigen's food. She tells Jigen that she can't find anything more infuriating than putting off recovering the vessel. And this is the first time for all the manga readers that we see one of Ishiki's abilities, which is the move where he summons objects he shrunk and stored in a dimension where time doesn't move. Meaning he pulled out another table and all the food from that dimension, which was at a small state, then regrew it to its original size. Jigen tells Delta that if she wants to, she can go over to where Koji is and check out the situation for herself. However, he tells her that this is Koji's mission, and that if she spots anything, she must return to him and pass on the information. Amato then enters the scene as he questions if it was a good idea to even let Delta go after Koji, as he says that it won't even matter. Meaning that no matter what happens, the vessel will return to him regardless. The next scene after basically shows Delta going after Garo. Of course, due to what happened last time, he's very excited about it. And we are now finally put back to Boruto and the team, as it's basically where we left off last episode, with Boruto going over to check on Kawaki. As the team follows and surrounds him, Konohamaru states that he's out cold despite only suffering minor injuries. But the most surprising thing is the Karma Seal he possesses on his arm. They note that he must have had help from someone taking out these puppets, as they just don't believe a kid did it all by himself. Just then, Boruto's Karma Seal starts to trigger, which puts him at a state of pain, which also triggers Kawaki's arm as well. And now it is officially revealed to the animes only how Kawaki managed to fall into the hands of Kara, as we basically see Kawaki's father in negotiation with Jigen, which judging by the briefcase seems to be a case full of money for the kid. And it's obvious that that the father went through with it. Damn. After the deal's done, Jigen tells Kwaki that I'm your daddy now, as in the present time, Kwaki starts to wake and Konohamaru demands the team gets away from him, as he can sense something happening, and right he was, because we literally see Kwaki just float in the air and push everyone away from him. Like for a second, it looked like he could fly. After seeing that crazy shit, Konohamaru comes to the conclusion that it probably was Kwaki who destroyed the puppets. Kwaki then demands to know who they are and what they want with him. In hopes to calm him down, Konohamaru tells Kwaki what he wants to know. Watching from a distance is again Kashin Koji, who is immediately joined with Delta. Koji tells Delta that it's always a pleasure to have her around, although he doesn't remember inviting her. Delta tells him that Jigen gave her permission, so it wasn't his call. She asks Koji why Kawaki is awake and where Ao is. Koji tells her that he failed, which makes her question more why he isn't down there. She tells Koji that if he's not going to make a move, she will, and boy did she, by bringing Garo back to Kawaki. Kawaki asks why Leaf Shinobi are after him in the first place, as Konohamaru says they mean no harm, but the airship crashed in Konoha territory and they just want to know what's going on. Kawaki asks if they could just leave him alone, but Konohamaru denies this, saying that normally people in Kawaki's position would be thrown in jail. Boruto then pulls out his trump card and shows Kawaki his karma seal, which puts both Delta and Kawaki in shock. Kawaki then introduces the name of the seal to the anime onlys, Karma. Again, back to what I said in the intro, this episode may not have been as action-packed, but it's still a very important episode for what's to come. And then out of nowhere, Kawaki is attacked by Garo, who reveals his upgraded parts since last time. Now he can shoot projectiles and has a mask covering his chin. He states how Ao failed to retrieve the vessel as it makes outers like him look bad, and apparently if he successfully brings back Kawaki, he becomes promoted to an inner. Team Konohamaru then comes to the conclusion that Garo was after Kawaki, which is the vessel they need to bring back to Kara. Kawaki threatens Garo and tells him that he'll lose more than his chin this time. Garo then fires more projectiles at Kawaki, who of course dodges them and zooms over to Garo and transforms part of his arm into a weapon to strike him with. Garo swiftly blocks it and notices that Kawaki is at a weakened state, meaning even though he's exhausted, he's moving so fast that it's impressive to the young team, clearly showing the difference between them and him. Garo and Kawaki basically just talk more trash to each other, and that's where this episode ends. Now, following off of this with the preview, for the first time they held back on showing anything with intention, because for the last time this episode was a build-up for what's going to happen next and moving onwards. It needed to happen, and I honestly kind of enjoyed it. But yeah, that is episode 188 in a nutshell. Be sure to let me know how you guys felt about the episode in the comments down below, and I'll catch you on the next one.